Earth. It is the element home to some of the world's greatest riches. The dwelling place of materials that can potentially drive a nation to prosperity, to progress. However, the responsibility it demands is as profound as the treasures that it holds. But this is a task that does not daunt a company driven by the purpose of maintaining its pristine glory. This is APX Mining Company, Incorporated. The company is primarily in the business dealing in gold, silver, copper, and all kinds of ores, metals, and minerals. Their operations are chiefly to mine, mill, concentrate, convert, smelt, treat, prepare for market, manufacture, buy, sell, exchange, and produce these materials. APX Mining Company is proudly Philippine-owned, originating from the Mako Gold Mine in Davao de Oro, province of Mindanao in the southern Philippines. AMCI's history dates back all the way to the 1970s. The company was incorporated and registered with the Philippine Securities and Exchange Commission on February 26, 1970. They attained the status of being a public company soon after in 1974. Operating for more than 50 years, AMCI has stood the test of time by upholding their sincere dedication to being a sustainable and responsible mining company. To this day, APEX manpower is composed of nearly 2,000 men and women working together towards keeping the company's operation standards globally competitive. In faithfulness to this goal, integrated with their collective effort, AMCI is recertified to ISO 9001-2015 for Quality Management System and ISO 14001-2015 for Environmental Management System. The company is also certified to ISO 45001-2018 for Occupational Health and Safety. As an attestation to the company's adherence to these standards, APEX Mining Company Incorporated is a recipient of multiple awards, among which is for best practices in safety and health management, environmental protection, and community development in the prestigious Presidential Mineral Industry Environmental Awards. But AMCI's excellence is not purely anchored on these honors and recognitions. It is in their great dedication to champion the well-being of their workers, stakeholders, neighboring communities, and most of all, the environment. In their day-to-day operations, AMCI embody their corporate values by assuring rapid growth of their resources, maintaining outstanding workforce performance, achieving optimal production, properly resourcing funds, sustaining fruitful relations with partners and indigenous peoples, identifying and managing risks in the workplace, practicing the 5-star system standards, and demonstrating the world standard environmental practices. APEX Mining Company Incorporated is a company whose sights are set way beyond gold, silver, and many other metals and minerals. It is set far up in the sky in anticipation for what is to come. It is set on their companion smiles to grasp the reality of where they are right now, and it is set firmly on the ground in remembrance of where they have begun, right here on this very earth.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this Friday morning. Happy Friday to everybody. I am while watching the video, I'm being amused by a lot of familiar names. I've yet to meet our some of our audiences today, but definitely I can see a lot of familiar names, and we'll get to your comments later on. But yes, we are privileged to be speaking once again to a company we've been talking to, we've focused on since I guess middle of last year. Given the potential and the prospects of this company as well as the operational efficiencies that they have been doing under the surface, pun intended, the stock is up by 56% as of the moment, and this stock is truly providing alpha, providing an outperformance in a market that has been very challenging this year. I'm sure everybody knows that. And hello, Harvey. Hello, everybody. And um, we'll get to your comments later. Yes, you are correct, and thank you also for noticing that during the last earnings call, Apex Mining was just trading at 1.85 pesos per share, and now it's 2.87 if I am not mistaken. And you know what? Not only are Mons, or I don't know if it's Mons or Apex's avid fans, but during the time, Apex was not yet the most valuable gold miner in the Philippines. But now, as of today, they are. In fact, a few days ago pa. So this is something that we are happy about because this is something that we've been talking about. And you know what? I'll try to keep my introduction short because there's a lot of things that we will be talking about. Mon will be sharing with us. And because of that, let me introduce our guest speaker. This man needs no introduction. This man is the AVP for Investor Relations, a miner, an engineer, and he's the one whom we've been talking to from Apex Mining Company and who's been walking us through the progress, the developments, as well as giving us guidance and outlook on what's to come for Apex Mining Company. Without further ado, I now introduce and bring back Mon Adviento.
Morning. Morning, everyone.
Hey, Mon. Good to have you
Hey,
back.
yep. Harvey, kumusta na?
Mon, I don't know if which is more popular, you or Apex Mining, but regardless, I treat you and Apex as one and the same anyway.
Yeah, yeah, Apex is really doing well, okay? So, uh, irrespective, the gold price is really elevated. And just may I remind everyone, last year, the average gold price was 1797. Right now, we're above 19, so we're happy.
That's thank you for that, Mon, for highlighting that one. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let us maybe proceed with the slides so that we can get on with the Q&A as early as
Please,
possible.
please, please.
All right.
Okay, first quarter results 2023. That's our mine. That's our Mako mine. So, our 90 96% of our numbers come from this mine. Okay, as of the moment. Next slide, please. A normal disclaimer. There's forward-looking statements, and then this is not what it goes this is not asking you to invest. This is only us telling you what we are experiencing right now, or what we have experienced in the first quarter. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, updates on our ESG. Our what they call this, our tree planting is still active. Okay, so we do this year in, year out. uh, Next slide, please. Now, this is with respect to our indigenous people, uh, which we co-celebrate with them. Their what they call this Indigenous Peoples Day. So from cultural enhancement activities, that's what we do. Uh, okay. Next slide, please. And of course, our what they call this, to sustain the what they call this livelihood of the residents, The chocolate is doing well right now. Same with the face mask. And we just recently opened our AMC Livelihoods Training Center in conjunction with DOST, okay, and TESDA. So there'll be a lot of what they call this training activities for the what they call this the indigents and what they call this the indigenous, and of course the constituents residing within the what they call this Masara Mineral District. Okay. Oh, next slide, please. And then, of course, in terms of governance, we are winners in the best miner, best safety inspector, and then also best mine foreman. And then of the numerous awards that we've gotten from the LGU and the DNR and MGB. Okay. So next slide, please. Now let's go to the numbers. Production highlights. Okay, so we basically mined around 183,000. It was down 2.6% year on year. And then on the mill side, we milled around 182,000. It was down 6% year on year. And as disclosed in our latest press release, we basically experienced 5.7 days of interruption. So basically, from the earthquakes, if you would look at the Philbox website on the earthquakes, we experienced an earthquake swarm. Basically, in a span of 2 to 3 weeks, more than 1,000 earthquakes occurred within the Davao de Oro region. And since we're right smack in the middle of Davao de Oro, we experienced the earthquakes, and because of this earthquake, there were disruptions from so many what they call the safety inspections, because after a large earthquake, we have to do what they call this safety inspection, and also the what they call Napo core, the grid basically tripped off so many times. Also, net effect disrupted our mine and mill operations by around 5.74%. So basically, we're down by 19% in terms of our target, what they call this production days. And the reflected volume is also down by 19%. So similar. So halos ganun din eh. It was because of those two events, no? Earthquakes and a large deluge of rain, and which created a lot of slides, which disrupted also access for our mine workers to come in. So in terms of grades, first quarter we experienced around 4.56 as against previous year's 3.76, so it's quite high. And then if you look at the metal production, despite the disruption, our gold production was up 6.5%, so we did 23,608. That's against previous year's 22,174. But the silver was down. Grades was also down. Okay. So next slide, please. And then the effect on the gold number on the financial numbers for the first quarter, 1,929, 3% up, but the silver price was down. Okay, so $23 as against previous year's 23.7. But if you look at the revenue side from the gold, it's 17% up year on year, and then silver was down by 10%. But net effect on the total, our revenue was up 15.6%. Okay, we did 2.577 million pesos. And then what's also encouraging was the forex rate was above by 5.63. For the first quarter, we experienced 54.42 as against previous year's 51.52. But our net income is down 15.8. Okay, so we also disclosed that if you look at the numbers, it was the cost of goods sold really went up. Okay, so let me explain the numbers on the next slide. Okay, so basically the cost consolidated cost of production was up, what, 33%. Okay, so the cost of increase in cost of mining materials went up by by 153 million. Okay, and then on directly on the mining, okay, from mining, milling, maintenance, out of the 153 million, 105 million is based on the direct mining. Okay, and then additional, the depreciation, depletion, and amortization was up by 91 million. But mind you, this one will be steady for this year, because that was the effect of the previous year's capex. Okay, and then power cost was really high, abnormally high, not because of the usage. It was more of the suppliers. Okay, for example, 30%, okay, well, to a contract supplier. The contract was around 170, but we were paying 680 plus. So it was two times over budget. And so it basically, we were hit. But if you look at the grid system or even WSM, the whole Philippines was hit. Okay, it was basically because of high fuel prices, both coal and bunker. Okay, was hit. Okay, but if you look, our usage per ton is below budget. Okay, so that's very, because we were strict. As we were saying, we will be prudent, and we were strict, but still, because of the high increases, it really affected us. And then, of course, there's the normalization. Okay, because of the COVID-19 easing of restrictions, so the manpower complement went up. The, again, the company is belt tightening right now, making sure that we keep everything tight. And for your information, our what they call this, our inventory control in terms of us, what they call this days inventory, we have brought it down, we're bringing it down again. Okay, but and our supply chain is so tight on that. Okay, so that's basically explains what affected us. The 400 million was because of this inflationary pressures. But mine is doing its 9 mil is doing its best in order to mitigate this increase. Okay, so in terms of our cost, we're below budget, but of course, the increase was really very material. So next slide, please. So if you could look on the price and foreign exchange comparison. On the left chart, that's the foreign exchange rate. Okay, so if you look at for the first half, up till May, we were averaging around 55, and last year the foreign exchange rate averaged around 52. But the second half was is different, so we still have to see our second half. But last year's second half, the foreign exchange rate was high. Okay, but for gold prices, okay, as I mentioned earlier, the whole 2022, our average was 1,797. And if you look at the Kitco chart, 1 year gold, we're already floating beyond 1,900 dollars. Okay, so that would be favorable for us moving forward. Okay. Oh, next slide, please. Now, the company, in terms of our all-in cost, we remain the third quartile, 970, but uh, but with the inflationary pressure that the whole industry in the whole world is being affected by it, it's really gone up. So, for example, the 1232, expect it to go up higher. Okay, so probably easily an additional 10, 15 to 20% across the board. Okay, So us right now, our cost is higher. Okay, but it is also reflective. The first half total in cost is also reflective of the shutdown or the disruption of around 6 days or 5.74 days, which is really similar to the cost that went up 19% also. Okay, so next slide, please. So right now we're looking at 91,000. Okay, for the year, uh, but this is only Mako. Okay, if there's already a slide of 6 days, we're catching up on it. Okay, so hopefully by 2026 we have been normalizing at 106,000 ounces. Okay. Next slide, please. And break even sensitivity. If you've been watching the earnings call, we've maintained this. Okay, so right now our break even is below $2.31 per ounce, per gram. Okay, so quite steady. Okay, next slide, please. And CAPEX guidance is going down. Okay, so that's nice. It's something nice, but of course there's been news of our NDMC acquisition. So that is only the CAPEX guidance of the existing two. Okay, got Sangilo, Mako, and Sangilo. Anyway, uh, hopefully we'll as we proceed and get more data and our studies on the expansion programs on North Davao and then the Mapula will be will be disclosed. Okay, in the near future. Okay, next slide, please. And now the summary of growth prospects. Now it's very critical for you to understand that our growth strategy we are maintaining. Okay, for Mako it is the 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day, and we plan to achieve that. Well, with respect to the copper porphyry there, we're fast tracking our what do you call this expansion drilling. Okay, so it is moving, but it will take some time. Okay, so sa Sangilo, from 200, now we're doing close to 500, and it's delivering. That's something like Sangilo is now delivering. Okay, so the last year's numbers with respect to Sangilo, uh, they're doing much better right now. Okay, with respect to Suyok, it's still in process. Okay, so probably in the next few years we'll see Suyok contributing. Okay, and then with respect to Monte Oro, what they call this, it's still the mill is there. It's now treating what they call small scale products. Okay, and then with our projects abroad, we're still talking with them, discussing. But there's a new owner, so we'll be meeting with them soon. Okay, so to discuss how to move forward. And then with respect to service contract 72, which we own 30% interest, there's still an impasse, and hopefully something comes up. No? So next slide, please. And now the recent acquisition has already been disclosed. Okay, and this you can check on the pmdc.com.ph website on the list of prospective deposits. So what has been drilled is Amakan. It's a brownfield. It used to be 115 million ton deposit. They've already mined 50 million, and we're still left with 65 million. Okay, so once we get an approval from the permit to proceed to drill, we will do validation drilling, and we will be immediately doing the preliminary economic assessment. Okay, and then Geminian is contiguous to Amakan. Okay? And then the Iho, where we will start doing our validation drilling there. And since the high gold prices right now that we are experiencing, and they are forecast to be in the medium term, to be in those levels, we will fast track also this Iho. So next slide, please. And then we also disclose that the Mako veins extend to North Davao. And if you look at the four mining areas, the current active is Malumon and Maligaya. Then there's also Masarita and Level 4. And from the Level 4, it extends to North Davao, which this vein system, okay, is connected to Malumon. And the Maligaya to Malumon is extends to North Davao. And so if you look at the one on the right side, that's the yellow is 225 MPSA 225, and the darker yellow or goldish yellow, that's MPSA 234. Now the green and the bluish, that's the North Davao FTA, and then the red, what they call this, blotches are the deposits that are found. No, the Amakan is on the right side. So if you look, there are four copper porphyry deposits there. The Amakan is the middle of the right. Okay, so Peminian on top, and then Tarago, and then Iho is the one on the left bottom. Okay, so if you look, the vein system extends, and then if you look at here on the middle, uh, above the Maligaya and Masarita, there's a lot of vein system that extends, no, and to North Davao, and eventually we will be exploring that, no. And then there's a long gold vein system from Sagay up to Monte Oro. No? It's a few kilometers long vein system that they did not touch. They mined it, but now we're looking at it because it might be a potential to put up a what you call this, mine there, but we still have to do the studies. Okay, so that ends my earnings call. I'm now open for questions and questions.
Mon, thank you for the comprehensive overview and presentation regarding your first quarter performance. Mon, or siguro team, may we please bring back the NDMC mine site again? I just have some questions siguro to kick off our Q&A. Of course, though, for everyone's benefit, Apex Mining disclosed some acquisitions sometime this year, and it pertained to some North Davao Mining Corporation properties. And one, so practically, Mako is where on this schematic?
We're in the middle.
That's
Okay.
right in the middle, ano?
Yeah. So
So the
two yellows.
the
That's our Mako operations.
I see the two yellows.
Now,
Okay.
yung mapula dyan, yung yellow na on the left side, no?
Uh-huh.
Yan yung mapula pag-asa, Cantari, the five copper porphyry gold deposits. Andyan. Yan yun.
The yellow that you're talking about is the picture on the right, no? Yung may
Yes.
green, may light blue.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Actually, hindi ko
Yeah.
masyado makita yung yellow na nasa left. But I think nandun yata siya sa green na part, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yes. That's
I
correct.
see. Okay. So there, I think we will have more questions pertaining to your recent mine acquisitions, but I just have to go through our questions first, no? So once again, Omar P, thank you very much for joining us. May mga comments kayo kanina, as simple as bakit 11 a.m. We thought that this is a perfect time, especially on a Friday, to have a discussion about mining, as well as we thought that we would like to deliver to you as early as possible the information that Mon would want to share today. No? So if you feel that this is a good time, then let us know. We're going to have more calls, more events at this time of the day. But first, no, from Omar P, Apex TP8, last earnings call, Apex 1.5. Today's earnings call, 2.84. Congrats to all. Congratulations also to everyone, especially to those who've been following us. Now, here's the question. Here's a real question from Jimmy in Sylvia Yu. What's the status of Benguet Mines?
We have to kasi Benguet Mine. Is it Benguet Mine? It has to be Sangilo. Sangilo is doing
Sangilo.
well. Our Sangilo is doing well. It's close to 500 tons per day.
Mm-hmm.
And the first quarter contribution, if you would notice it, remember we did 23,000 ounces and 19,000 plus is what they call this. Sorry, 22,000 plus ounces and 19,000 ounces is Mako. So 3,000 ounces yung Sangilo. And if
Mm-hmm.
you look at 2022 numbers, 2022 numbers, Sangilo did 9,000.
So as of the
So
first quarter.
annualize it. Annualize it. How does it look?
Mm-hmm. Pero Mon, follow-up question to Jimmy and Sylvia Yu's question. Benguet naman wasn't affected by earthquakes in the same way that Davao mines were affected, no? So steady operations yan and
Yes.
tracking siya compared to 2022. Thank you very much for the question, Jimmy and Sylvia Yu. Okay, this is from Ryu Martinez. We have very good questions here, Mona. If you attain 3,000 tons per day, what's that translated in a year? I think
Uh,
Ryu's
it's
questions
in the slide.
pertains to Mako.
It's in the slide already. The 106,000. That's
Mm,
our budgeted production there.
mm-hmm. For Mako this year.
Yeah. No, matagal pa yan. That's 2025, 2026.
I see. Okay. From Steady Tito. Hey, Steady Tito, thank you for always joining us. Yes, Sir Mon, expecting kami stellar 1Q for Apex, pero babawi for second.
Uh, let, let's just say this. Nung April, bumawi. Ngayon, currently, bumabawi. No? We're trying to play catch up. What we experienced in terms of the April numbers, we were above 2022. And
Mm-hmm.
so it the first few weeks of May.
Mm-hmm.
Ganun lang masasabi ko.
Mon, kanina actually may question din, or I guess it was a comment na tumaas daw yung production cost, no? And in line with that, si John Erickson Ong has a question about it, which I also have a question about it. You mentioned kanina that the all-in cost is at $1,232 per ounce. This is for the global level.
Global level,
Um, mm.
90% of the total globe.
And you
That's
mentioned
the
that it's going to go up by another 15 to 20% for 2023. Is that correct?
across the board.
Across the
Around
board.
30.
And in line with that, Mon, what would be the increase in production cost to Apex or for Apex?
For Mako alone, we budgeted uh, on the cash production cost, we budgeted almost 800, per ounce. And lately, we're doing above that. Nasa
Mhm.
900.
900. So it's still far off, although really it's going to pick up throughout the year yan, ano? That's
Yeah,
the
but
projection.
that was on the first quarter numbers. Eh. Yeah, but if you look, that would go down by on the second quarter as we pick up our volume.
Mm, okay. And another question from John Erickson Ong: is there a projected percentage of how much the copper deposits can contribute to the earnings of Apex? This is a good question.
Yeah. Thank you, John. It's too early, but we did some runs, but it's still too early. Uh, it has a material effect in terms of our total earnings and net earnings.
Mm.
Definitely.
I guess a related question from Harvey Tan: how do you fund the expansion of NDMC?
Well, it's still too preliminary at this point in time. The numbers are not yet out, so we're still in the process of de-risking the project. Okay, but the internally generated cash flows would be sufficient to a certain level. No? So, for example, cash flow wise, uh, more than a billion kami to up to 3 billion ang cash flow, net cash flow in the next few
Mm.
years. And then I think we've been talking to a lot of investment bankers already, foreigners, foreign funds, and foreign funders,
Mm.
and they're quite aggressive. We'll just will we told them that the PEA is not yet out, so there's still a long process to go.
Mm.
We can still fund it internally. You know? So once numbers are more solid or more, let's say, more tangible, uh, probably we can discuss that in a year or two. See, we
Mm.
still have to do a lot of drilling in exploration.
Mm. I see. Thanks for that, Mon. So this is from Darwin Sagaysay: why was the recovery rate for silver lower year on year compared to gold?
Well, it's the nature of the beast. You know, one of our, yung large vein systems on the left side na pinakita ko kanina,
Mm.
Darwin, your Sagaysay is the name of that vein. Anyway, it's really the nature of the beast because you're trying to prioritize gold. What they call silver has to be depressed. It's always 10% lower.
Mhm.
Okay, so because it's a metallurgical uh, part of a metallurgical practice yan. So it,
Mm.
uh, it's part of, part it's the nature of that beast. Okay.
Thanks for that, Mon. So from Vicente Junior Dizon, another one of our usual suspects. I understand that Apex has some oil and gas component. How will this affect you if Prime Infra got listed? Follow-up question to that: will Apex retain its oil and gas component or will be transferred to Prime Infra?
Uh, Prime Infra is a different company. It's not the our largest shareholder, Prime Holdings.
Prime
Okay, it's
Strategic.
not is Prime Strategic Holdings. What they call this is the Prime Infra is its subsidiary. No, so if
Mhm.
ever let's say there is a decision by Prime Strategic, say to vend it, that would be their call. But as of the moment, we're not privy to that.
Hmm, I think napansin yata ni Vicente Junior Dizon yung yung service contract 72 niyo.
We own 30% of that.
Yeah. So from Rene Automata, do you have a target production date and target production capacity for the new mines? Amakan, Pia Minyan, Iho.
Well, as I said, it's still too early. No, we're looking at a tentative number of around 25,000 tons per day for Peminian. And then for
Mm,
Amakan. And then for Iho, uh, well, it's still too early. Too early in Iho. We just
mhm,
started opening up the files of Iho last weekend. Too early.
mm. Mon, when you said 25,000 tons, we're talking about gold pa rin, no?
Copper, yeah, copper.
Copper na siya. I've actually read some files. I dug up some files since you made that disclosure. And Namakan actually, if I'm not mistaken, sold some output na, pero this was many years ago, like 40 or 50 years ago, some around
No,
1960s, 70s.
oh, it opened up in 1982 and operated until 1992. I worked there.
Oh.
That's my first job. That's where I met my wife.
Wow. Full circle na.
Full circle na sa akin.
So you're quite familiar na with the mine. Anyway, from you, Alex, any plan to acquire more dormant gold mining companies?
Well, uh, the recent acquisition that we did is quite substantial, and we haven't basically tapped into it. No?
Mm-hmm.
So that's still a long way to go. So I'm not sure if we're doing land banking, but it, the last acquisition is quite substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, right now, we're the largest tenement owner in the Masaraminal district. And
Mm-hmm.
if you look outside of us, okay, that Masaraminal district, or for example, that acquisition gave us a lot of prospects, seven copper gold deposits and 16 epithermal gold deposits. So it's still a
Mm-hmm.
lot to do. No? So we have to max it out.
So Mon, sige, I'll have a follow-up question to that later. But from Rio Martinez again, per your website, Mako has 1.68 million ounces of gold estimate resource. Do you have an update of total gold mineral reserves for all properties?
Uh, we There's a what do you call this? There's been an extensive drilling program done year in year out, and right now it's I think there will be a third party uh, competent person
Mm-hmm.
who will be doing a report. So we will be updating that.
Mm-hmm. One in relation to this question, question that we have is we noticed kasi that the ore grade has gone up during the first quarter. It was at 4.57, if I'm not mistaken. And last year, I think you averaged somewhere close to just 4 ounces of
4 grams,
4 grams,
below
no,
4
per
grams
ton.
below.
Yeah, 4 grams per ton. But this time, 4.57. My question is, can we expect for the ore grade to remain at this level, or was the first quarter a little bit more of a one-off?
No, no, it's what you call this. Uh, you get what you mine. So our
Mm-hmm.
mine is in a direction, scheduled ka. So from that scheduled mine planning, from the mine planning comes up with a schedule, and the stopes that will be hit will have grades. No? And from the grades you get an average grade if you do a yearly budget. No?
Mm-hmm.
So right now we just hit the high grade blocks of good grades. So we it will not it's not a one off, but it is not also the it's not the norm, no. But let's just say this past few years, uh, the grades will fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at our mineral resource or in a mineable reserves, the grades there are 4.5 to 4.6. So that's expected.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a mine call factor that you apply. So
Mm-hmm.
that grade will go down. Okay.
I see. Thanks for that, Mon. Um, I guess in relation to that, there is this question. Sorry, there's this question from Frank Gan. What is the current status of the Mako mine after the earthquake? When will operations go back to normal?
It's no normal.
Hmm.
We're
And then
just
during
playing
the
catch up.
I see. During the earthquake naman, it just stopped momentarily, but there was really no, I guess, long interruptions.
No. Intermittent eh. Basta
Mm-hmm.
nag-total siya 5.74. There was one day na more than 20 hours na shutdown, but it was it was done by what they call this, the Napocor. So
Mm-hmm.
basically they tripped the whole province. So we were affected.
I see. Thanks for that, Mon. Our next question, the one earlier from 5 up 3R Vilos. Or super Vilos yata ito. Do you expect to beat budget of 91,000 ounces of gold for 2023 given better ore grade and better recovery rate?
The recovery rates is just reflective of the grades that we feed now,
Mhm.
and we're still playing catch up. Okay, but I think we'd be we'd be close. But what's better is Sakilo is producing better.
Mhm.
So Sakilo produced 9,000 ounces, and if
Mhm.
they keep it up, they might produce 12,000 ounces.
Wow. One question. Tons per day of Sangilo by the end of 2022 was around 300. So since
400 plus.
it's just 400 plus na. Okay. That's why ganyan din yung impact sa production.
Yes.
Okay. From Harvey Tan, is the 5 billion pesos acquisition of MDMC worth the price?
Based on standard valuation by World Gold Council, we were below. Okay, we were below.
Mm.
But of course, it's dependent on the deposits that you can find. Now, we're running numbers, and potential wise, it's there. No? There's a lot of deposits, and some of them are what they call this brownfield. We can open it
Mm.
up, no? And right now we're looking at all the data, and we're quite happy that North Davao, they were mining it at a cut-off grade of 0.22 when copper prices was 70 cents to a dollar and 50
Mm.
per pound. Now
Mm.
gold copper is 3 350 370 per
Mhm.
pound. Malayo. So 0.22 right now mining cost much lower if you do it at that same throughput.
Mm. Someone, I guess, still talking about the NDMC acquisition. It's really the Amakan property that we're looking at. Of course, the studies have yet to be released, no, as you said nga. But practically, now kasi Apex is primarily a gold producer, a little bit of silver, and then once siguro you have a definitive study and production gets going in the Amakan, you will soon have a copper production as well.
Yes. Uh, we used to produce copper in the early 70s.
Hmm. Anong mine site 'yun?
Yung dito sa likod lang eh, katabi ng mapula,
Ah,
Kantahin,
okey.
small.
Mm. But,
Those days, mura, maliit pa yung production ng
70
killer.
cents. So since you mentioned about 255, sorry, $3 per pound of copper, any number that you could give pertaining to Amakan siguro, or in terms of cost of production, would you have that already?
Uh, merong, merong initial numbers, but
It's not
it's
dependable.
not dependable. You have to be restricted. Once you know that the deposit is really there, and then you check the metallurgy properly so that you can recover it
Mm.
optimally. Once you are able to recover optimally,
Mm.
uh, the, the uh, the business model will be very positive.
Mhm. Sige, I have more questions, but let's go first to Rene Estomata's question. What is the current life expectancy of the Mako and Sangilo mines?
Sama ko, basically, from the old resource model on 2021, uh, the what you call this, the life was until 2032. But with the extensions and then the reserves below level 500, okay, uh, it can be extended, no,
Mhm.
with the beyond 2032.
Mm.
Diba? As we said that the acreage uh, given by North Davao, okay, give, gives us extensions from our existing mining operations, okay, that that can be tapped in the future, okay,
Mm.
and then the other veins that we've been seeing, but since it's too thin on our part, because that's still not we're it's in a narrow portion of our tenement. Now, since it's now expanding, okay, we can now evaluate it and then potentially extend or put up another mill on the other side of the tenement.
Mm. Essentially, Mon, what you're saying is, given the NDMC property, you have an option to drill deeper, or you have an option to drill towards the side to expand the mining operations.
From the existing, we did not include yet in the resource calculation the 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 stopes or the blocks that has been drilled prior in years prior. We haven't included. It was not included. Now they will be including that. No? The one below
Mm.
level. Uh, Basta it's a level 350 ang target. Eh. Tapos
Mm.
dun sa kabila, it's the extension, no, goes further, no. So medyo substantial din. Now with
Mm.
respect to Sangilo, once the permit is approved, the conversion to MPSA, we will be getting a substantial block. Therefore, Sangilo would be a multi-generational mine at its Kemen mining mine and mill throughput.
Mm.
Malaki yung
With that
support
said,
mo.
Mon, since you're talking about Sangilo, I believe Suyok is right beside it. What is the status of Suyok Mines permitting application?
Basically, that's why we're undertaking what they call this the the studies to put up a mine, so we can move forward with it. It's already an MPSA, so it's just
Mm.
a matter of or an approved expa with ibang portion. So it's just a matter of us delivering on it. Because it's
Mon,
not
we have
really
a. Yes, please go ahead.
uh, ang prioritize kasi sa akin.
Mm. We have so much more questions here. Good questions actually. And this one is
Good.
from Gian Del Rosario. 1 year outlook on commodity precious metals market. Good question.
Well, for gold, there's been a lot of statements right now. The recent one yet today was the softening of gold prices from 2000 to 1960 was
Mm.
brought about by uh, what they call this from June side on the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. They're saying there might be there's a 35% probability that they will raise interest rates. So that's
Mm.
basically weakening it. At the same time, the dollar suddenly became stronger.
Mm.
So when the dollar became stronger, it affected gold prices too.
Mm.
So, but if it weakens, positive effect. But if it goes stronger, negative effect.
Mm.
So may interest rate environment ka at meron kang what you call this strong dollar. So that affects the gold prices and silver prices.
Mm.
So in 1 year, uh, it might be the level of 2000 might be the norm, no? After that, I don't know.
Very much since you mentioned the increasing cost earlier. Currently, gold price is up by about $100 per ounce, and you mentioned that your cost will probably go up by a little less than that, no? Currently, from 840 ba? Is your all-in sustaining cost to about 932.
970 ang all-in namin. But yung
I see.
mine is around 700.
Mm-hmm.
So mine went up to the 800 level. So maapektuhan kami.
I see.
Hopefully, we'll be offsetting that with the production increases.
Mhm.
Kasi maraming yung fixed cost component malaki-laki.
From from you, Alex, what is the biggest challenge the company is facing now?
Inflation.
Mm.
But we the key thing here is that because of the inflation, a lot of mining companies are doing belt tightening,
Mhm.
shortening the minimum order quantities or economic order quantities with our suppliers. So that's a challenge right now, and our supply chain is very active on that. Okay, so that's why if you look, as I said earlier, it the cost may have gone up, but the current numbers we're seeing is below our budget because we already put it into our budget, the escalation. But right now, we're still driving it down. Okay,
Mm.
so we are now below budget with respect to cost, but masyado lang mataas talaga yun.
Mm.
Oh, and the 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 6 days really affected. So
Mhm.
hopefully by second, third, and fourth, we're already normalized, and then we're reaching the numbers steady 25,000 tons a day.
Mhm.
Mitigated yung inflationary pressure.
Mm. So sige. So from Frank Gan, what will be your dividend policy? How much of this year's profits will be paid as dividends next year?
Frank, that's already a company policy that
Mm.
10% of our earnings of the previous year will be declared as cash dividend.
Mhm.
So moving forward, that would be steady. What's critical for us is to maximize our earning capacity and our earnings. So if we're able to achieve that, okay, with the Ken Mako and Samilo as they expand further, then I think our bottom line will be increasing. Remember, there's still a lot of expansion that we will be undertaking on the existing mines or the existing tenements that we own. So probably before the copper
Mine.
clay or mine uh, comes in, we would be maxing out on the gold clay.
Mm. On that being said, no, how much since your dividends is of course going to come from your net income. How much net income do you expect to make per quarter going forward? Do you expect to beat 2022 net income given the higher gold and silver prices?
Too early to tell, but we're playing catch up.
Hmm.
I would say uh, 3 billion probably is achievable. That
Uh-huh.
not the 3.2 plus. Uh,
To
let's
beat
just
last
hope that
year.
we're able to beat that. Okay? So
That's
we're
great.
working on that. Okay, it's still too early to tell. We're still at yet on the closure of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
The second quarter results, if it's good, okay, uh, then probably we'll beat the 2022 numbers because the foreign exchange rate is quite elevated, but 2022 was highly elevated. At
Mm-hmm.
2020, the fourth quarter was beyond 56.
Yeah, that's
So, but
correct.
yung gold price namin was around 1.8, below 1.8 yun eh. At that time,
Mm.
now we're above 1.9. So, ewan kang window na yan eh. So, we're just praying that nothing happens. Okay?
Mon, I know we're already well. We're already beyond the 1 hour period. But there are just a few more questions. Allow us to eat into your lunchtime just
Sure.
for today. But let me just take this question. This is from Omar P. And I'll take advantage of Omar's question. Good day, Sir Jeff. Will AB Capital increase its fair value on Apex due to international brokers value it above 3 pesos? Omar, this is a very good question, and you are clearly following the story. I've been having many discussions with our analyst and our team about it. Let me take advantage of this opportunity that we to tell everyone that we actually increased our fair value estimate from 2.8 to 3.02 recently. But siguro if you can go back to that report, our assumption uses a much lower gold price at 3.02 pesos per share. If I'm not mistaken, the gold price that we used to compute that was about 1,000. It's about $1,600 per ounce. And the way kasi we use our assumption, or we make our assumption is it expects gold to be declining towards $1,200 per ounce throughout the coming years. So from our perspective, what we would like to provide to everyone is a sensitivity analysis that if, for example, gold price will sustain at current levels, as Mon mentioned, it's just undergoing correction. But if it sustains at maybe 1.8 to 1.9, my internal computation, because I asked for the sensitivity, the price of Apex should be much higher than current levels, should be much higher than our fair value target. But of course, taking advantage of this opportunity to tell everyone that since we also have to make sure that we're prudent. We just don't use one price kasi, especially in valuing Apex. But truly, the value of Apex is much higher than our 3 pesos per share estimate. But we would like but we are also waiting for the definitive feasibility study of Mon, especially pertaining to their recently acquired mines. But just to tell you quite frankly, we're excited about those acquisitions because nga of what Mon shared with us earlier. So hopefully I was able to answer your question and provide guidance also to everyone. But definitely in the short term, as Mon said, it's the macro factors that's been affecting the share price. So that being said, let me leave it at that. I don't want to say too much, but let me bring on the question of Harvey Tan. Is NDMC assets comparable to Felix Silangan?
Felix Silangan is a single deposit. Two deposits, Boyog and Boyugo.
Mm,
Our deposits are what you call this, multiple. We have 7 targets, but I don't know with respect to the size if it's similar to the Bayugo Boyongon deposit. But in terms of grades, Bayugo is higher, but we don't have the water problem that they have,
mhm,
and we're going to be an open pit, and our stripping ratio is quite low, so our cost will be low. And of course, that's still dependent on the technical studies that will be undertaken. But what's
mhm,
critical right now is not the mine; it's more of the technology of the mill, because we are looking at maximizing it. Okay, so if the numbers are really good, let's say at 0.3% copper and zero point 0.3 grams gold, that's already a high grade copper asset.
deposit.
It's still too
Okay.
early.
Thanks for that, Mon. Now I'm very conscious of the time because some of us might be going out for lunch. So I'll piggyback again on Omar P's question to close our Q&A in our session today. Good day, Sir Mon. What are you most excited about Apex given its potential? And also, will stock dividends soon be one of your near-term plans? Yeah.
Well, right now, because of the acquisition, we have to be accumulating capital or cash for for the potential capex that will be involved. No? So we will maintain we are maintaining the 10% dividend policy with respect to any special dividends. I'm not privy to that.
Mm.
Okay, but what's Apex is, as we said, our mission vision statement is to be a world class uh, mining company. So to be a world class gold company, we have to produce at least 250,000 ounces of gold a year. So that
Mm.
becomes a tier one. So that is our goal. Can we achieve that? There is likelihood. Okay, the possibility is there. The probability is there. No? But it takes a lot of de-risking activities involved.
Mm.
So what's nice about it is the potential. The
Mm.
potential for bigger earnings, okay, based on multiple mines is there. And hopefully the market will value us like Negalacia, Felix, double digit, no? Hindi yung international na high double digit eh. O let's say,
Mm.
hindi teenager, beyond teenager mga yun eh. It's Pilipinas eh. Mura masyado.
Yeah. So with that, Mon,
Harvey, TB8 ah.
may nakita pa nga ako kanina, Mon, TP20 na eh. But anyway, we have to tame our expectations because this is we don't want for this to really shoot up really fast, no. We want a
Correct.
sustainable operations and sustainable growth. But um that being said, Mon, we'll piggyback on your closing statements, and on behalf of AP Capital, we would like to thank you once again for spending time with us this afternoon, sharing those information and giving us a glimpse for the very first time of your recently acquired mines. Definitely, we are looking forward to hearing from you during your second quarter earnings release, and that will be sometime July or August, if I'm not mistaken. So, Mon, thank you very much for your time today. And then for everyone who joined us also, thank you very much once again. And most importantly, for your questions. If ever we have not been able to answer them, we'll try to siguro address them through Facebook or YouTube. We'll probably comment na lang. We'll reply to your questions. But yes, please stay tuned for more developments, for our updates on the company. Apex, we feel, is still undervalued despite its 56% run up for the year. It just surpassed Philex as the most valuable gold mining stock. That being said, as Mon mentioned, Philex is still carrying a valuation of 9 times PE, while Apex is still trading at about 5 times PE. We think this kind of valuation is not really unfair, but deserves more valuation later on. But that being said, I don't want to hold you any longer. Thank you very much for spending your time with us this morning, and hopefully it has been insightful. Once again, this is Jep Tang, and we will see you in our next earnings call.